Right here, and a good morning, Patty.
Good morning to everyone, and good morning to you, Randall White. Yes, Labor Day weekend.
I know. Can you believe it?
It's like the last hurrah of summer.
I know. I have to put all my white shoes away, my white belt,
That's right.
all that stuff. But I can still bring them out for a barbecue tonight.
One last time.
All right. Yeah, it is Labor Day weekend, and this is our Crush exclusive moment of the show when we're heard in the San Luis Obispo area. And we'd like to let you know that this hour of Eat, Drink, Explore Radio is brought to you by Eberly Winery in Paso Robles, open daily 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. with complimentary wine tasting and cave tours. You know, it is California Wine Month. So
is it?
Why not?
It's not every month.
Well, I guess it is for some of us, yes. But why not kick it off properly and head on over to Eberly, voted by Wine Spectator as one of the best tours on the entire Central Coast. Eberly Winery, located on Highway 46 East in Paso Robles. You can log on to eberlywinery.com for more information. Speaking of barbecuing, we thought we would do that in fine Labor Day fashion yesterday after a hike up to so if you're Cuesta Grade.
Right. I saw a picture of you on Facebook.
Yeah. So that was taken. If you pull off at the top of Cuesta Grade, you can do a little hiking up into the hills there, and beautiful sweeping views of San Luis Obispo and surrounding communities. Morro Bay you can see very well. And so after a hike up there, worked up quite an appetite, and last night thought it'd be fun to do a little barbecuing. So our good friend Anthony, the person who also works the audio switchboard over here for us, brought over it was a halibut, right, Anthony? And he got it, sliced like half the fish,
right?
was there, and none of us really knew how to deal with that. Like, I quickly realized I have no clue how to fillet fish or cut it into steaks. We tried to, and we don't have knives like you have at the Pyburn household. Our knives, we are desperately in need of something sharper, I realized.
This could be the triggering event.
Halfway through trying to cut this thing up and turning it into chum, basically, it was just a mush.
No.
We then put it on the grill, and I don't know why I was thinking halibut had the texture of like a swordfish.
More like a steaky kind of a fish.
Yeah,
it's not.
No, it's not at all.
It's very delicate.
Very delicate and flaky and fell apart on the grill. And this is just like one of the many things that were going wrong within the process of trying to.
Did it end up being a vegetarian barbecue? I'm just curious.
Well, we did have a nice big salad that we took what we could salvage from the barbecue and put it on the salad. And but yeah, it was just one of those things where if something in the kitchen could go wrong last night, it did, and it just kept getting later and later. And we have this early morning show, and it was like 9:00, and I was tired and grumpy, and
later and later can sometimes at a barbecue end up in a good payoff with really great meat coming off the grill or something. But
I'll tell you what did come out. The corn, yes. Anthony just chimed in.
It's a good time of year for corn.
It's a great time, and what we did is we just rubbed the corn with olive oil, and there's a seasoning we have for making Bloody Marys.
Oh.
And I'm going to tell you this, that Bloody Mary seasoning worked perfectly on the corn. And so we just rubbed that, put it on the corn. And I like to do it just so it's a little bit golden brown, on different kernels and stuff. And that caramelizes the sugars. And boy, it tasted fantastic.
So does that have a little bit of a celery flavor to it?
It does. A little bit of.
That sounds really good.
Yeah, a little bit of celery, a little bit of spice, so it gave it that zing.
A kick.
It did. So, note to self and to all of you, halibut on the grill equals no, unless you use parchment paper or something. Foil, yeah.
Unless you know what you're doing.
All right, stick around, everyone. The show kicks off officially here in about a minute. We've got a lot coming up. Great show today. Hope you're enjoying your holiday weekend. Back in a moment. Eat, Drink, Explore Media is your lifestyle information source. Our focus, food, wine, craft beer, travel, and tourism trends, with a slant towards sustainable and healthy options. Whether it's hot deals or tips for hotels and flights, an update on what's currently fresh at your local farmer's market, or the latest restaurant and beverage news, we've got you covered from 8 to 10 each and every Saturday morning. Live on Crush 92.5 in San Luis Obispo County, and online at Eat, Drink, eatdrinkexplore.com. Also, check out our new free smartphone and tablet app. Simply search 3 words, Eat, Drink, Explore, either in Google Play on your Android device or in the App Store on your iPhone or iPad. This free app gives you access to contests, past radio segments, our Facebook and Twitter feeds, and you can watch live video of the radio broadcast while listening to it here on The Crush. Eat, Drink, Explore Media, your source for the lifestyle you love.
You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network, coming to you live every Sunday morning from the fabulous state of California. Now let's have a big round of applause for the host of our show, Mr. Randall White.
Yes, and a very, very good Sunday fun day morning, everyone. Great to have you listening today as we are live across the board. In fact, it's a little bit different today because we are finally live on Sunday in San Luis Obispo. So we've moved all of our stations around so that it is a live show everywhere you are hearing the sound of my voice. We cover all things food, beverages, and travel here at Eat, Drink, Explore Radio. And we keep it healthy and sustainable. That's the main focus. We are broadcasting live from the Eat, Drink, Explore studios on California's Central Coast. And straight ahead this hour, we have a lot of fun guests coming up. In fact, many of you on vacation possibly right now listening. How unplugged are you? Do you have your smartphone going and your tablet app? And when you check into the hotel, are you looking at the TripAdvisor ratings? Are you trying to go to Yelp to figure out where to eat? Are you checking your email? Are you tweeting? Are you on Facebook letting everyone know what a beautiful site you just saw? What have you? Well, our first guest coming up this hour will talk to us about unplugging during vacation for true mental health. So we'll want to hear about that. Also, coming up at the bottom of the hour, it is California Wine Month. Yeah, September's the big month. Of course, it's harvest. The wine growers are very busy right now trying to grab the grapes at just the right time so that they can blend them up and ferment and make some fantastic California vintages this 2012. So we'll talk about California Wine Month and how you can explore it all month long. Also, our travel deals segment is Mr. Gabe Saglia. He's with Travel Zoo and talks about the top 20. He's got some great Central Coast locations, some great California vacations, and then he always expands beyond there as well. So Gabe is always a great guest, and we'll have some fun stuff for us. Then in the next hour, it is our Compass Hour, and it's the word dry. Patty Pyburn and I, my co-host, who is sitting off to my right here in the studio, will go head-to-head with our travel, or our Compass word trivia, yes. And we'll have a series of questions based on the word dry. And last week I won. Not that anyone's counting.
Not that we're keeping track.
I think you might have won the week before, so this could be the tiebreaker, right? And so for everything ties in with the word dry. And so we will be talking about dry farming. I had possibly the best watermelon I've ever had in my life a couple of years ago, and it said it was dry farmed. And I'm like, dry farmed? What's that? So we'll talk a little bit about dry farming. We'll also take you to a wine region that has the word dry in it here in California. And then dry heat. We'll talk about getting just the right vacation property in the desert.
So we're talking about Arizona.
Maybe. But right now, what we are talking about is the news with Miss Patty Pyburn. And it's a big travel weekend, of course, Patty. What do you have for us today?
Big travel weekend, and from the Eat, Drink, Explore news desk, we're looking at the stories we're following on this Sunday morning. One of the busiest weekends of the year at Yosemite National Park, but this Labor Day is shrouded with fear over a deadly virus that's killed 2 people and sickened 6. The Park Service has narrowed the source of the hantavirus to tent cabins at Yosemite's Curry Village. The disease is spread through contact with infected rodent urine, droppings, or saliva. The park says it is safe to visit, and you may actually find an open reservation tonight, as some visitors canceled their plans because of fear of getting the disease.
Wow. Labor Day weekend, being able to secure a reservation in Yosemite National Park, I gotta say, I'd like. Maybe I'll drive over there and take advantage of that.
It could be opportunity for some people, especially if you're one of those last-minute planners.
Yeah, exactly.
Or not a planner.
That's me.
And the LA Times, Randall, says it's a 20% cancellation rate at the park's lodging facilities. And this is the holiday weekend when the units are typically sold out.
Wow, so 1 in 5 reservations, the people thought, yeah, I don't know,
And canceled.
Okay.
But that could be opportunity for you. All right, you may find yourself drinking beer twice as quickly this weekend if you are drinking from a glass with curves. This is according to a new study out of England. Drinkers with no history of alcoholism between the ages of 18 and 40 took part in the study using both beer and soft drinks, served in 2 types of glasses. The participants drank beer at half the speed from a straight-sided glass compared to a curved glass. This was not the case, though, with the soft drinks. Researchers say it is more difficult to accurately judge the halfway point of shaped glasses, so it is more difficult for drinkers to gauge how much they've consumed.
Well, now I know my problem. I need to replace all my glasses at home. They're all curved.
Those dangerous curves.
Right.
All right. The federal government is looking into whether it's safe for you to use your electronic gadgets on board planes during takeoff and landing. I know we've all sat next to someone who is ignoring those admonishments of turning off your phone. And it is a little nerve-wracking because you're thinking, is that going to be a problem?
Right.
I just turn it right away. Turn it off.
We're taking off.
Well, an FAA committee is going to be formed this fall and should have an answer for that by late spring. Currently, the rules require each airline to determine when it's safe for electronics to be turned on during a flight. The main concern is about radio waves emitted by some devices that could interfere with the cockpit equipment. That is what I never want to do.
No.
Will not be me over a text message. All right, gasoline prices are among the highest ever for a Labor Day weekend. And this is according to this morning's AAA Fuel Gauge report. I love that website.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Latest information on gas prices. The average price of gasoline in California is $4.16 a gallon for regular gas. The national average has increased more than 30 cents a gallon in August. That's the largest monthly price increase since spring of last year. Now, prices should drop after the holiday weekend as demand decreases. Gulf Coast refineries resume operations, and a less expensive winter fuel blend hits the market. Look for those gas prices to drop. All right.
I just gave you a little whoosh sound into your next
good.
story. Right. I thought, hey, I can do this.
All right. If your weekend holiday plans include traveling around the state, expect a comfortable day for the most part. Temperatures a bit warmer, though, tomorrow. Upper 80s to low 90s are forecast for the interior valleys with a high of 91 for Sacramento, 88 in Fresno. And along the coast, that marine layer moved in over much of the region. We're looking at it out the window right now. We are expecting mid-60s for Sunday. Now, Los Angeles should see a high of 78. San Francisco will be at 67. And here at the Eat, Drink, Explore studios in beautiful downtown San Luis Obispo, we'll see this fog overhead burn off. Clear skies expected later on today with a lovely high, Randall, of 72 degrees. Don't you think there are some people out there who might be listening in other parts of the country who are a little bit jealous right now?
You know, my so I got that information from the National Weather Service, but my iPhone, it always tells me something different. And
it's the microclimates.
Yeah, and so for the local weather right now, it says we will have a high of 79 today, which is still perfectly comfortable
for San Luis Obispo.
Yeah, and a little bit warmer again tomorrow, just like our forecast said. But so slightly warmer here, but yeah, really a pleasant day. And when you think about how hot it can be this time of year in the Central Valley, you know, at triple digits and such, that's not too bad.
No, not too bad at all. And I was just out near one of your favorite RV parking spots in Avila.
Yes.
The other day, people were there jockeying for spaces.
Oh, yeah. It's the big weekend.
Yeah. And they're expecting lovely weather there. A little bit cooler in Avila this next couple days.
Well, we'll find out how unplugged all those people are when we return with our guest who's going to talk about mental health while traveling and why you should get rid of all those devices. Back in a moment. During its heyday in the 1920s and 30s, San Luis Obispo County's Hearst Castle saw many a lavish party, attended by the rich and famous. Now you too can head to the castle for a once-in-a-lifetime experience featuring local, farm-inspired cuisine to celebrate the rich history of locavore living that Mr. Hearst pioneered in the region as you sip wine and sample fresh seafood, locally grown produce, and meats from nearby farmers and ranchers. Eco-friendly wine lovers will appreciate the Vine to Glass theme carried throughout the event, featuring the best vintages from the region. It's part of opening night for this year's Sunset Savor the Central Coast, the West Coast premier food and wine event, September 27th through the 30th, to culminate California Wine Month. To purchase tickets and for a full listing of activities, head to savorcentralcoast.com.
Come to Paso Robles to eat, drink, and explore the fresh additions to the Paso Robles Inn Steakhouse menu from Chef Kevin's Organic Kitchen Garden. Whether you're there for the exquisite Champagne Sunday brunch, seasonal dinner special, or prime rib Wednesday, you'll enjoy this season's harvest from the Organic Kitchen Garden, including fruits, vegetables, and herbs incorporated into the menu daily. Don't forget to take a tour of the gardens next time you visit the steakhouse at the Paso Robles Inn. And stay connected on Facebook and Twitter for upcoming specials, recipes, events, and more.
Across the nation, people are stepping up for their mothers, fathers, husbands, wives, partners, sisters, and brothers. They're leading the way and walking to end Alzheimer's, the 6th leading cause of death in the nation. Together, we can reclaim the future. Walk to end Alzheimer's. Start a team. Join a team. Go to alz.org.
The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break and will be back shortly. Did you know our weekly Saturday morning radio show also has a video simulcast on Ustream? You can watch it live or view pre-recorded versions while on the go by simply downloading our free Eat, Drink, Explore app for your smartphone or tablet device. To find it, just head to Google Play or the Apple App Store and search Eat, Drink, Explore.
Hey, Gene, you
Hey
can
there.
hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you great.
Yeah, I kicked out
The
a
Eat, Drink,
wall
Explore
plug
radio
earlier, so I
show
wanted to
is
make sure we could
currently
hear
in a
you.
local commercial break.
You're having a big party over there, I see.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to pot you back down, and we'll talk to you in just a moment.
Get the latest audio, video, and breaking news from Eat, Drink, Explore Media by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We're easy to find. The URL extension for all of those sites is simply Eat, Drink, Explore. Thank you for your patience. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break and will be back on the air shortly. Curious about information you've heard on today's show? Just head to eatdrinkexplore.com and head to the weekly program summary section under the radio tab. We always list the websites and any other important facts associated with each of our guests we have on the program. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break and will be back on the air shortly. And welcome back, everyone, on this Sunday morning. We're right in the middle of Labor Day weekend, which, of course, is a huge, one of the busiest travel weekends of the year. I guess probably only topped by Thanksgiving weekend, of course, the Christmas holidays, and probably tied with Memorial Day weekend. It's the official end of summer, so everyone trying to get their yayas out, of course, you know. Patty Pyburn joining me to my right. I don't know if I mentioned, I'm your host, Randall White, and you are listening to Eat, Drink, Explore Radio, where we Explorer.
Yes.
All things food, wine, travel, you name it. And this is our health and fitness segment. It is a chance for us to take a look at the food, beverages, and activities in your life from the standpoint of your overall well-being. And we do know from a variety of studies that travel in general makes you healthier. But what if you're traveling and you stay totally plugged in? You know, are you really getting away, or are you just way too tied to your business and all those all those things? Well, joining us right now with a little more information on that is Jean Sullivan. She's with the National U.S. Travel Association. Welcome to the program, Jean.
Hey, Randall, how are you?
Fantastic, thank you. And saw a piece on the Today Show where you were featured regarding unplugging for mental health.
Yeah, exactly.
It's something that we need to do, and both Patty and I are guilty of it. In fact, Patty, weren't you just saying you check your email even when unconsciously?
Compulsively sometimes, even when I tell myself you are not at work, you are not checking your email for at least, I would say like 2 hours or something, and then I just compulsively find myself hitting that refresh button. Yeah,
Jean, is this what the majority of Americans are doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think people really have a hard time taking an unplugged vacation. I think one of the main reasons is they're afraid to completely detach from work. They're afraid for their coworkers to think, or their bosses to think, that they're indispensable. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like a badge of honor when you come back from vacation to say how much you worked on vacation. I don't know if you've noticed that, but I've noticed that in pretty much every company I've worked.
No, it's true. It's like you're trying to say, hey, look, I was still connected. I'm still valuable.
I'm still productive.
I'm still productive, right. And in my situation, since my entire job revolves around those sorts of topics, when I'm away, I'm constantly posting things. Look at this dish I'm eating. Look at this hotel room view. Yesterday, I was taking a very relaxing hike up in the hills above San Luis Obispo, and I was busy taking pictures and sharing to show everybody how great it was. Why do we do that? Oh, yeah. So, Jean, what have you found in terms of unplugging for mental health?
You know, I found that if you really don't unplug on a vacation, you're really not getting the benefits of the vacation. And there are a lot of studies that the U.S. Travel Association, which I'm on their PR committee, they've compiled a lot of studies, including there's a lot of increased productivity and creativity when you go on a vacation. And I think, of course, it means you must unplug and get that benefit. But also improved health, and also really enhanced relationships and sense of happiness overall with your life. And I find when I have been able to take those unplugged vacations, I really do get those benefits, as opposed to when I take a weekend away and I'm just constantly, posting on Facebook or calling the office or checking my email. I keep telling myself it's to make myself feel better, less stressed for when I get back. But honestly, I just don't feel relaxed after those vacations. I feel like I need a vacation from that vacation.
Right. Now, do you think that we're modeling this for our kids? Because I have 2 teenagers, and I know that my daughter has a very difficult time unplugging, and we're doing family things, maybe a family excursion or something, and my son gets aggravated with her because he says, are you doing this so that you can enjoy it? Or are you doing it so that your friends can enjoy it on Facebook? Do you think that we're passing this on to our kids?
I think we are, and I think your son is very wise there. And I think it really takes each of us being brave and, standing up to our companies and actually, starting to change the American corporate culture, because right now our culture just doesn't get it. And Americans are among the worst vacation takers, the most burned out in the developed world. Mm-hmm. So I think there are just, some really great tips that we can teach our kids now to help them, have a better perspective later on when they're out in the world and working full time.
Are our kids... Are we passing it on to our kids, or are our kids passing it on to us? Because, like in the case of my parents, they're always completely unplugged on their vacations. But, we, between my sister and I and such, we've been introducing to them, iPads and iPhones, and look what we can do while we're on the trip, So it's the reverse generational thing in that case. What about being plugged in when it comes to finding a restaurant, finding a hotel, rating, those sorts of being plugged in?
I personally think that if you really, really have to have it, let's say you're lost and you don't have any other suggestions from a concierge, or you didn't plan ahead, if you really, really need to go on just for a minute to find the address of a restaurant, it's okay. but I find it's a slippery slope. I've told myself on vacations, I'm just going to go check and see what's the best restaurant. And I find that I wind up then going on to Facebook or spending about an hour, and I'm missing the scenery around me, and I'm totally plugged in and losing perspective of the moment.
So you're saying just don't do it. Just completely drop it.
Well, try to remember what it was like for us when we were younger. We didn't have all these iPhones and iPads, and we traveled on vacation. We asked people, hey, what do you recommend as a good place to eat? We connected with other people.
Mm-hmm.
Good
point.
Still works.
Yeah. Instead of hearing reviews online, you would ask someone on the street, can you? In fact, I did that in New York City and found one of the best Irish pubs I've ever been to in my life. I asked someone just off Times Square. I said, I am a tourist, but I do not want to go to a tourist bar. Can you please tell me where someone that lives in Manhattan might go to just have an after-work drink or something like that? And the person was incredibly nice. In New York, they'll just sort of give you the information without a bunch of niceties attached to it, and which I sometimes prefer. And so they just said, yeah, right around the corner over here, go to whatever it was, Harrigan's or something like that. And so I said, okay. And so I went there, and they were dead on the money. It was the entire staff originally lived in Ireland, and I think Jean, are you still there?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. We just had a telephone
little clicking noise.
and I thought
I was wondering what that was too. I wondered if it was being recorded by the CIA or something.
Well, don't unplug yet.
Yeah, right. Yeah, good point, Patty. I have to tell you this. Right, just prior to the show, I kicked a key phone line out of the wall, and it tore the wires. Literally tore the wires from the plug. We were so fortunate to have a backup plug in studio here that we could quickly rewire everything. So my heart just sort of
jumped a little
there for a second when I heard that noise. I thought, I went and did it, didn't I? So lots of information for travelers at your site.
Actually, there's I'm with Sullivan Says PR. I'm actually on the committee for U.S. Travel Association, and I've been with them for many, many years. They have lots of wonderful information on their website called ustravel.org. Mm-hmm. And if you type in benefits of travel, you'll find a bunch of different links on different types of studies that have been compiled. It's very, very helpful. There are different tips you can do, like give yourself a work break, commit to yourself that no matter how guilty people make you feel, that you're definitely going to unplug. You can schedule ahead, plan it way in advance so that you have time to plan holes in your schedule and train someone to cover for you, which is really important, and block out time, maybe a few days before and after, to wrap up loose ends and catch up afterwards. I think if you do all those things, you can really have that unplugged vacation, but you can find more on that website.
I like that, Jean, and you brought up something that Patty and I know have experienced in the past with coworkers who make you feel like you're bad for taking something that you have earned, your vacation time. And I don't know why some coworkers feel the need to make you feel that way.
But jealousy, maybe?
I think it might be jealousy, right? And so if you're one of those people, think about what you're doing. That's not very nice. Let people enjoy their vacations. Jean Sullivan with the National U.S. Travel Association, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. Stick around, everyone. Up next is our business segment. What's one of the biggest businesses in California? Wine. That's what we're talking about. California Wine Month. Coming up in just a moment. The historic Santa Margarita Ranch, exactly halfway between San Francisco and Los Angeles off Highway 101, was founded in the mid-1700s and served as an assistant mission to the nearby mission in San Luis Obispo. The 14,000 acres that make up the ranch today have served a variety of purposes over the years, including grazing land for large herds of Mexican cattle, prime vineyard land, and this fall will once again host the main event for Explore Sunset Savor the Central Coast, the West Coast premier food and wine event, September the 27th through the 30th to culminate California Wine Month. Meet top chefs from the Central Coast as well as nationally recognized culinary celebrities. Several chef demonstrations will be featured, including the Battle of the Bay, hosted by the Food Network's Ted Allen of Chopped. To purchase tickets, head to savorcentralcoast.com. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break and will be back shortly. Did you know our weekly Saturday morning radio show also has a video simulcast on Ustream? You can watch it live or view pre-recorded versions while on the go by simply downloading our free Eat, Drink, Explore app for your smartphone or tablet device. To find it, just head to Google Play or the Apple App Store and search Eat, Drink, Explore. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break. We will be back shortly. Get the latest audio, video, and breaking news from Eat, Drink, Explore Media by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We're easy to find. The URL extension for all of those sites is simply Eat, Drink, Explore. Thank you for your patience. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break and will be back on the air shortly. Curious about information you've heard on today's show? Just head to eatdrinkexplore.com and head to the weekly program summary section under the radio tab. We always list the websites and any other important facts associated with each of our guests we have on the program. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break and will be back on the air shortly. Thank you for being a regular listener to the Eat, Drink, Explore radio program. If you have any feedback for us, we'd love to hear it. Simply send a note to radio@eatdrinkexplore.com. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break. We will be back shortly. Get the latest audio, video, and breaking news from Eat, Drink, Explore Media by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We're easy to find. The URL extension for all of those sites is simply Eat, Drink, Explore. Thank you for your patience. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break and will be back on the air shortly. And a very good Sunday morning to you, or as some of my good friends and I like to say, Sunday Fun Day. It's the day that you can really relax, unplug, as our former guest just said, and take, Sunday Fun Day is even more fun when Monday's off, which so many of us have Labor Day off. Patty, you will be working today, though. You're doing weather, as a matter of fact, for KCOY in San Luis Obispo and Santa Barbara counties.
Yes, I'm wearing lots of hats these days, and I am now, weather hat is included. So I'm doing weather yesterday and today for the Labor Day weekend.
And for those of you listening on KSCO in the Santa Cruz, Monterey area, Silicon Valley, not so much Silicon Valley, but the people that live in Santa Cruz County and Monterey County can see you in the mornings on occasion on KION. Is it 46? CBS
News 46. Yeah, KION News 46. Goes
Right.
all the way up to Santa Cruz. Mhm.
So you're not only on the radio throughout this entire region, sometimes you're on TV.
Yeah. All mornings, weekday mornings now.
Weekday mornings,
Yes.
okay. And so it's just the folks can hear us in San Jose. They just don't get that channel.
Right. No, not in that area. I
Because
don't
they
think
get
so.
CBS 5 out of San
Yes.
Francisco. So, but at any rate, Patty, always great to have you here doing the news with us. And it is time for a little business buzz. And, one of California's largest industries will be celebrated this month as we officially began California Wine Month yesterday. Did you have a glass of wine yesterday, Patty? Not that
I
I'm
didn't.
putting you on the spot.
But I had beer.
Oh, you had beer, right? Okay,
A stout.
A stout. Ooh, that sounds good. But there are so many different activities that will be going on throughout the month to celebrate Wine Month. And to find out a little bit more about that, Nancy Light joins us now. She's the Director of Communications for California's Wine Institute. Nancy, great to have you with us on the show.
Great to be here, Randall. Good morning, Patty.
You must be so excited, Nancy, to have one full month that has been declared Wine Month. And it's official. The governor declared it, correct?
That's correct. Yes, this is the 8th year we've had a California Wine Month, the month of September. And, it's a great time of year to be in California. I think it's some of our most beautiful weather. And, of course, the other part of it is it's the harvest. And this is when everything comes together. We are an agricultural product, after all. And so it's just a beautiful time to visit and really experience that.
Is that why September was chosen as California Wine Month, because it fell during the harvest?
Exactly. It's so, you're in a wine region, you can smell the grapes, you see the grapes on the road. It's just, it really kind of brings home that this is a business. Agriculture is different, and the harvest is different every year. You taste a little bit of history when you're drinking a bottle of wine.
I love that smell that you were just mentioning. We used to go water skiing quite a bit at a lake called Lake Berryessa near Napa, and we would have to go right through Napa, over to the Silverado Trail through Yountville to get to Berryessa, and we would pass these grapevines on a hot September day, and you can smell the sulfur and the grapes and it's just such a
It takes you back.
Yeah, those olfactory smells that you pull in and boom, you're a child again.
Yeah, they're very powerful.
That's one of them. I love it.
Exactly.
Well, I was joking with Randall earlier that it's just 1 month of Wine Month in California.
It's every month, but there's a special time. Of course, wineries are always welcoming visitors around the year, but this is a time when they're really highlighting what's happening at the winery, and we have over 120 different events specific to California Wine Month. Some of these are happening month-long, some are just on certain weekends, but they're happening all over the state from north to south, and really just kind of upping the wonderful time you can have at wineries. You can bike, hike, sail, do yoga, music, and then taste wine too. So
wine yoga?
Yeah.
Okay, now we're talking.
You relax with yoga, and then you end with a glass of wine. What could be more perfect?
Where's that taking place?
That's taking place at Wente Vineyards in Livermore Valley.
I love it.
Oh, that is a great combination.
Isn't it?
Yeah, and that's Wente, W-E-N-T-E.
W-E-N-T-E, and I should just say, all of these events are listed on our website at Discover California Wines, and you just hit on the Wine Month tab.
Okay.
So one of my students at Cal Poly is a Wente.
Oh, you're kidding?
Yes, and she's talked about her. And when you said that, I went, wait, it's all coming back to me. Allie's told me about this.
Right. So now when you
Yes.
run into your student, Allie, you can say, hey, you got yoga at your winery.
Yes.
I found out about it on Eat, Drink, Explore. So there are several very large events going on, one in San Francisco, one in Los Angeles, and then we round the month off here on the Central Coast with Savor, right?
Exactly. Let me tell you about the two. So two of those are events that Wine Institute is actually hosting. These are California wine regions. We're calling them California Wines Road Trips. They're all wine regions from around the state under one roof at tastings in L.A. The first of them is happening this Thursday, September 6th, at the Peninsula Hotel in Beverly Hills. So we'll have about 30 vintners and growers pouring wines, about 80 wines, again, from 12 different regions. It's just a great way to, taste all of California without, under one roof at one tasting. And then we'll be repeating that on September 22nd. That's Saturday at the Ferry Building in San Francisco.
Oh, I love that. Oh, and at the Ferry Building, too. That's such a nice
two great
location.
locations and beautiful hotel in Beverly Hills. And, great food location in San Francisco.
The great thing I like about the Ferry Plaza there is its access to public transit. I've mentioned that before, but especially for a wine tasting,
Exactly.
you've got all sorts of ways to get away from it without getting behind the wheel yourself.
Exactly. And
that-
we do, of course, always have designated driver discounts for our tastings. So.
Nancy, you were talking about it being harvest time, and I think what I felt so lucky to be able to be at a winery during the sparkling wine harvest, Letitia. And it was just such a cool process to see when they assembled the big press and everything. I think anyone who wants to drink wine needs to go to a winery and see that process. You need to see how it happens.
I agree. It's just really fascinating, and it gives you a whole different appreciation for what you're tasting.
It really does. You mentioned how many different wine regions now? 12?
Oh, there's more. I mean, depending on how you count it, there's actually dozens, and I think, as you know, new ones kind of identifying themselves and coming online, every day. But we have 115 official American viticulture areas in California. So those are grape growing regions that have been designated as having, differences based on history and weather and climate and geography. So, and then if you just want to talk about areas like Paso and SLO, there's somewhere, between 30 and 40 of those.
Yeah, and of course you've got the flagship valleys that are known worldwide, Napa and Sonoma and such. And then you have these hot spots that have really rapidly grown over the last decade or so. Temecula, like you mentioned, the Paso area, Monterey County, and the Sierra foothills. Are there any?
Exactly, and Lodi as well. That's another big one. Lodi has a month-long celebration happening for California Wine Month. They have the Loca Road Trip, and they have events at all wineries there this month as well.
That's right, Loca. I was trying to remember as you started mentioning Lodi. I knew they had a catchy phrase for it.
Yeah, well, it's Lodi, California.
Yeah,
it's
so
a new
Loca.
campaign they have. It's fun.
I like that.
That is very clever.
Yes, and so are there any contest? A lot of times when you have like a big month like this, are there any contests associated with this?
Contests, did you
Yes.
say?
Uh-huh.
Well, as a matter of fact, that's interesting. This is sort of the Wine Institute. We of course, are always advocating on behalf of the wineries. It's not legal for wineries to do contests in California. They're done all over the rest of the country, but there was just a bill passed by the legislature, and hopefully by this time next year it will be. So there are no contests going on.
Interesting. I'm
Isn't
glad
that
I asked the
interesting?
question
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, so it could have, but it was actually a bill that we worked pretty hard on, and we just have to have it signed by the governor. So he signed our proclamation. We hope he'll sign the bill, and we can have some fun contests, because it's something we would love to do with our events this year, is have some trip giveaways to some wine regions for folks coming in.
Right. Now, when any official numbers come in for, harvest numbers, how California is doing in terms of wine sales worldwide, exports, imports, all that sort of thing, it always comes from the Wine Institute. And
That's right.
So what is the Wine Institute exactly?
So we're an association of California wineries, and essentially we are representing the collective interests of California wine throughout the state, the country, and actually internationally as well. So we have a very robust export program. You may know we export over $1 billion of wine around the world as of last year to 125 different countries. So essentially we're representing the California wine industry and also providing information on the industry and its contributions and activities.
So the entire month will wrap up with Savor the Central Coast, put on by Sunset Magazine and the San Luis Obispo County Convention and Visitors Bureau, or I think it's the Visitors and Convention Bureau,
Yes.
the VCB, right? And lots of events going on with that as well, right?
That is a cool event. It's 4 days. There's all kinds of food activities and chef demonstrations and seminars. I think probably the most fun is the evening at Hearst Castle. Sounds great to me.
It really does.
Yeah, so I think that's just a wonderful event, and that kind of wraps up the month from the 27th to the 30th. So,
And I believe that kickoff event at Hearst Castle features sustainable wines. That is a very large growing area of California's wine industry.
it's really important to us, and it's an area where California is really in a leadership position. We have the California Sustainable Wine Growing Alliance, which is a self-assessment program where wineries basically look at all their practices in the vineyard, in the winery, in the community, to see that they're employing best practices that benefit all of those areas. And we have about 70% of our vineyards and about the same number of our wineries participating in that. So.
Okay, well, Nancy Light, the Director of Communications for the Wine Institute. Nancy, as you mentioned, people can find more information by going on California Wine Month by going to discovercaliforniawines.com and clicking on the Wine Month tab. We have that link available, as always, at eatdrinkexplore.com. Appreciate you coming on the show right in the middle of your Labor Day weekend.
I appreciate being here. Thanks so much. Great talking with you.
Okay, well, stick around, everyone, because up next is the always popular, Patty, travel deals segment.
Ooh, yes.
Gabe Saglia, always taking vacations, but in the middle of his vacations will join us.
He's not unplugged.
No, in this case, he will be joining us from his home, as a matter of fact, and he's got some great deals throughout California and beyond. Stick around for that. You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network on this Sunday morning. Back in a moment. It's time to channel your inner cowboy or cowgirl with a bit of rustic elegance thrown in for an upcoming culinary experience in Paso Robles at Windfall Farms, an exclusive community that promotes and enhances the sustainability of local agriculture and celebrates equestrian, ranch, and agrarian lifestyles. The Paso Glow event is taking place Saturday evening, September the 29th, from 6 to 10 on the final night of this year's Sunset Savor the Central Coast, the West Coast premier food and wine event, September 27th through the 30th, to culminate California Wine Month. The event will wow you with ranch-inspired delicacies prepared by the area's top chefs, the region's best wines, and the warm glow of many illuminated hot air balloons. To purchase tickets and for a full listing of activities, head to savorcentralcoast.com.
Come to Paso Robles to eat, drink, and explore the fresh additions to the Paso Robles Inn Steakhouse menu from Chef Kevin's Organic Kitchen Garden. Whether you're there for the exquisite Champagne Sunday brunch, seasonal dinner special, or prime rib Wednesday, you'll enjoy this season's harvest from the Organic Kitchen Garden, including fruits, vegetables, and herbs incorporated into the menu daily. Don't forget to take a tour of the gardens next time you visit the steakhouse at the Paso Robles Inn. And stay connected on Facebook and Twitter for upcoming specials, recipes, events, and more.
Across the nation, people are stepping up for their mothers, fathers, husbands, wives, partners, sisters, and brothers. They're leading the way and walking to end Alzheimer's, the 6th leading cause of death in the nation. Together, we can reclaim the future. Walk to end Alzheimer's. Start a team. Join a team. Go to alz.org.
The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break and will be back shortly. Did you know our weekly Saturday morning radio show also has a video simulcast on Ustream? You can watch it live or view pre-recorded versions while on the go by simply downloading our free Eat, Drink, Explore app for your smartphone or tablet device. To find it, just head to Google Play or the Apple App Store and search Eat, Drink, Explore. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break. We will be back shortly. Get the latest audio, video, and breaking news from Eat, Drink, Explore Media by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We're easy to find. The URL extension for all of those sites is simply Eat, Drink, Explore. Thank you for your patience. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break and will be back on the air shortly. Curious about information you've heard on today's show? Just head to eatdrinkexplore.com and head to the weekly program summary section under the radio tab. We always list the websites and any other important facts associated with each of our guests we have on the program. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break and will be back on the air shortly.
You waited all week, and it's finally here. The Eat, Drink, Explore Weekly Travel Deals Extravaganza.
8:49 the time on this Sunday Fun Day morning. Great to have you with us, everyone, as we discuss all things travel. In fact, this is the moment of the show where we hear insight from the best of the best, the gurus of bargains, the luminaries of budget travel. And this week, we get our goods from Gabe Saglia of Travel Zoo. He puts together the very popular top 20 each week, and then about once a month, he puts it all together for us here on Eat, Drink, Explore Radio, highlighting some California locations and then expanding outside the state a little bit.
There's one common thread among all the deals.
What's that?
They're great.
I like that. Gabe, we know we're catching you between TV appearances in Los Angeles and Sacramento, so nice to have you on the show. How's your day going so far?
It's a great day. I'm wearing a lot of white.
Yes.
After tomorrow, I'm gonna have to hang all this stuff up. So I'm showing it off today.
Wear it while you can.
That's right. You're in LA today, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And did the fog move in down there too?
In the early morning, I was on the road at about 5 o'clock in the morning. Yes, at that time, a little bit of coastal fog, but it's gone now. It's just a beautiful, one of those beautiful, glorious Southern California days right now.
Yeah, it should be a pleasant one. Good day to sit behind your computer and head to Travel Zoo and book some getaways.
Getaways. Well, the beauty of some of these getaways is that they're actually not all that far away. I always try to throw in some central California, some regional drivable destinations.
And it's wine month, Gabe.
What's that now?
It's wine month.
It is. September is California wine month, so why not seek out some of the best wine in the world, just in the beautiful heart of California, in the Central Coast. So the first deal I've got here is out to Paso Robles. Paso Robles has done a fantastic job, speaking of wine, in the last couple of years, marketing itself to the world, really. I mean, there's a growing buzz, as you know, about just the quality of wine coming out of Paso Robles. This is a place called the Villa Valdemosa. This is a beautiful upscale Tuscan-inspired resort set amidst the vineyards and lavender fields. Some of the best wineries in San Luis Obispo County nearby. For $259, you get a 2-night stay in one of their suites with its own private sun deck, great views of the vineyards, whirlpool tub, which is just perfect after a little, day of wine tasting. A breakfast for two included, a gourmet breakfast for two included every morning. So a 2-night stay, usually $550, reduced to $259 for stays now through January. It's low season now with the summer coming to an end in wine country. Take advantage of some great deals. And not too far away, there's a great little place on Moonstone Beach Drive in Cambria called the Sea Otter Inn. I've not stayed here, but I'm friends with a woman who runs the Natural History Museum in Santa Barbara. And she saw that she raved about. She stayed here. She says that she can't believe that you can stay at this place now for just $89. It includes breakfast for 2 in the morning, and you're right there on Moonstone Beach Drive, as you know, close to Hearst Castle as well. You can splurge and upgrade to an ocean view room, and those views there are spectacular for another $40 a night. So that's a good little deal there in Cambria.
That's just unbelievable to me. $89 a night, Moonstone Beach. You can cruise right on up. What would that be? Highway 40.
The 46.
46 to go across.
West, yeah.
Yeah. And that Paso Robles one, what a great deal that is, too. $259 for 2 nights.
Yeah, it's a 2-night stay.
Wow.
The thing is with Central California, and this is certainly relevant to areas as far south as Santa Barbara, as far north as Monterey. This is the time of year, right at Labor Day and onward, where we start to see a significant drop in pricing as low. This is shoulder season now, and then, of course, as we get toward end of October, November, it's low season. So, the weather, as you know, is still very pleasant.
Right.
But I was going to say, we get some of our best weather, Gabe, at this time of year.
And it's crush. It's harvest season. It's the perfect time to go, and it's the low season. How fantastic is that?
It's a dirty little secret that Central California, like June, is. Let's face it, guys. I live in Carpinteria on the Central Coast. It's not the prettiest month of the year, June, but prices are high. People flock to this part of the world, and they're like, "How come it's gray until 3 o'clock in the afternoon?"
Yeah, sorry.
This is the time to start. Yeah, this is the time you want to come right after we're back in school.
Oh,
is,
gosh.
True.
And the Central Coast is such a great place. AAA just did a survey, Gabe, saying that Central Coast was the third top travel destination choice for Southern Californians for Labor Day.
Yeah, San Diego won as well, and you have a deal down near the border.
Yeah, actually, speaking of AAA, in their latest issue of Westways magazine, they actually feature the Paradise Point Resort, that specifically the spa on the property there. They give a very high mark. So the Paradise Point Resort, four-diamond resort on its own private island on Mission Bay. It is the closest resort to SeaWorld. So if you're taking the kids, this is just an extremely convenient place to stay. And they just finished a $20 million renovation. 5 pools, great waterfront dining. $109 a night to stay there through December. It includes a free room upgrade. If you stay 3 nights, you get a $40 resort credit thrown in as well.
And you get fireworks every night.
Exactly right.
Right?
Yeah, right from the,
Wow.
from the view of your room.
And right by the Gaslamp Quarter, which is really a fun place to go.
Exactly right, yeah.
Amazing. I love that. All right.
Go ahead, Patty.
Well, I was going to say that also is one of the top travel destinations for Labor Day. What a great deal.
I want to not, pardon me, on to your next place, Gabe. I want to not like Las Vegas. I don't know why I have that in my head, but I'm one of those people that wants to not like it. But every time I go, I have such a great time, and the resorts there are just top notch, and it is a good time. There's so much to be entertained there in Las Vegas, and the Aria is quite a place, and boy, what a deal you have there.
Yeah, the Aria Resort and Casino. This is a 5-star resort in the new city center there in Las Vegas. If you haven't been to Vegas in the last couple of years, then this is the sort of the new splashy complex there that includes a couple of resorts, including the Aria. This is 5 stars, 3 pools, 26 restaurants, and a luxury spa. The rooms, by the way, very high tech. You control curtains and drapes and all the lighting by remote control. Now, a 2-night stay here, $198. So that comes out to about $149 a night. It includes a $50 breakfast credit, 2-for-1 cocktails, and here's where there's some good value: VIP passes to the Hayes nightclub and the Liquid Pool Lounge, which are very coveted, sort of sexy places to hang out at night. You get VIP passes to both of those as part of this deal as well. This is a last-minute deal. It's for travel this month, September, so you got the next couple of weeks to take advantage of it, but a great deal there. And if you've been to Vegas, Randall, you know that Vegas has done very smartly now in the last couple of years. Their marketing is not just designed for those who want to do the bright light action on the Strip. Mm-hmm. You can do historic trips. A lot of these they'll use Vegas as home base, and you can do these tours over to Hoover Dam. You can do some of the historic old towns that are with an hour's drive out of Vegas. So there's just a lot of adventure travel, like parasailing, for example, doing with Vegas as home base. So there's way more to do than just throw money on the table and do things that you wouldn't do anywhere else, I guess.
It's true. I love going to Hoover Dam. I'm always just so wowed by that. It's one of those structures that's so large, you get that sense of vertigo, or your brain just can't really
get your head around it.
Yeah.
Well, Gabe, that's kind of breaking away from that stereotype of being able to go to Vegas and never step foot outside.
Right. Well, that's absolutely true. And the fact of the matter is that market still exists. A deal like this is definitely for people who want to take advantage of some of the amenities inside these beautiful mega resorts. But you tag on a couple of extra days on either side of a vacation like that, and some of these adventure trips. We've been publishing a lot of deals on Travelzoo that are geared towards the adventure traveler. Race, stock car racing out in the desert. The parasailing. A lot of these adventure types of opportunities are blossoming out there. And again, they'll pick you up here in hotel in Vegas. And
I gotta drop you off there, Gabe. Thank you so much. It's travelzoo.com/top20. Whole nother hour left straight ahead. Stick with us. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break. We will be back shortly. Get the latest audio, video, and breaking news from Eat, Drink, Explore Media by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We're easy to find. The URL extension for all of those sites is simply Eat, Drink, Explore. Thank you for your patience. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break and will be back on the air shortly.
You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network. Now here's the host of our show, Mr. Randall White.
And a very good morning, everyone. Great to have you joining us on this midway point right through Labor Day weekend. The sun is starting to break out here in San Luis Obispo, which on the drive in this morning, it was pretty dark out. Lots of fog for me. Patty, you came all the way from Arroyo Grande.
And it was foggy too. And we don't often get the fog pushing back in. We're a little bit more inland into a canyon, but Highway 227 was seeing a little bit of fog.
Well, it's
low
gonna
clouds.
Shape up to be an absolutely beautiful day. Depending on your source, it'll be anywhere between 72 and 78 degrees. Tomorrow, a little bit warmer, maybe even hitting the low 80s in San Luis Obispo. Of course, with all the microclimates we have here, it could be warm like low 90s in the Paso area. I went to a what do you call it? A clam chowder tasting in Morro Bay the other day. And it was really warm in San Luis Obispo. I was sweating, and I took the bus, as a matter of fact. So I rode my bike, got on the bus, and was sitting in there, and I'm like, he had the bus off, and I'm like, turn it on. The air
sweltering.
Yes, I need air. And then by the time I got to Morro Bay, I was freezing because it was
like high 50s, I think, in Morro Bay.
It was cold. Lots of great clam chowder, though, and that is
I was so jealous when I saw that on Facebook.
Yeah, well, it's all in advance of the big Harbor Festival coming up in the beginning of October, and we'll talk more about that as we get closer. Patty, you did a piece. Was it this week? You did a piece for KCOY CBS 12 on a new CSA that's popped up at a local winery.
That's right. Tally Vineyards is also, people may not know as well, is Tally Farms, and they have been for, I think, like 60 years. It's a family-run business.
This is in Edna Valley?
In Arroyo Grande Valley.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they have a huge wholesale vegetable production, and they do all their stuff wholesale, and they thought, we really want to have a better model and make this available locally for a lot of reasons. And one of the points that Brian Tally was making, he's the president, is that even when we're eating locally grown produce here that we get in the supermarket, it often has been sent somewhere else, sits in cold storage, and then comes back to us.
Sometimes in Arizona, right? Like,
yes.
Seems like an odd place to put cold storage.
Right. But. So to be able to get even fresher locally grown produce, obviously we have the farmers market as a choice, but these CSAs are really great, and they do help support the local economy and local farmers. So it's a win-win for both sides. But these baskets, one of the really great things is they're putting some nice items. They got feedback from customers. They wanted to make sure that you didn't open up your box on some weeks and be a little disappointed. So they're putting avocados in every week, and locally grown apples from Sea Canyon, and even some locally grown peaches, which were really delicious.
We still have a little bit of stone fruit season left, and I'll tell you, peaches and
so good.
The watermelon right now at the store, that's not a stone fruit, but you can't go wrong. Seriously, if you just thump a few of them, you'll hear one that has that nice ring to it, and bring that home. I just did it yesterday, picked one up, and
delicious.
I could eat half of it. I mean, seriously, and I did. It was a small.
And that's kind of one that you can get away with.
Right.
Watermelon's not going to hurt you too much.
I'm excited to hear about the new CSA through Tally. Do they have drop-off locations? Will they bring it to your home? How does it work?
It's called Fresh Harvest, and they officially launched September 1st. They want to reach 500. They were halfway there before their official launch, which is shows how popular this idea is.
Yeah.
You can pick those boxes up at Miners Farm Supply and Doc Bernstein's. They have at Tally Farms, it's Fresh Harvest, and I don't know off the top of my head, but you can Google search that. You'll get to the CSA immediately. So Tally Farms, Fresh Harvest. And, you know, they had the option of picking it up at the vineyard when you get like your wine month. But all of those spots are taken.
Oh, I
that
see.
was a popular option. And so those are all filled, but you can still pick them up at other places.
If you're lazier than that, like I am, we had a CSA for a couple of years drop off at our house. CSA, by the way, is Community Supported Agriculture, and we used one called Sloveg, SLOVEG.
They deliver, right?
They deliver to your house, and
That's
they
nice.
they tie in with the Morro Bay Fresh Fish, so you can get fish delivered.
I love
also.
that. I love the fish thing. That's so great.
Great idea. By the way, this segment sponsored by Kelly's at the Grill at Hunter Ranch Golf Course, the best kept restaurant secret on the Central Coast. Okay, we're back in just a moment with the rest of today's show.
Eat, Drink, Explore Media is your lifestyle information source. Our focus, food, wine, craft beer, travel, and tourism trends, with a slant towards sustainable and healthy options. Whether it's hot deals or tips for hotels and flights, an update on what's currently fresh at your local farmer's market, or the latest restaurant and beverage news, we've got you covered from 8 to 10 each and every Saturday morning. Live on Crush 92.5 in San Luis Obispo County, and online at eatdrinkexplore.com. Also, check out our new free smartphone and tablet app. Simply search 3 words, Eat, Drink, Explore, either in Google Play on your Android device or in the App Store on your iPhone or iPad. This free app gives you access to contests, past radio segments, our Facebook and Twitter feeds, and you can watch live video of the radio broadcast while listening to it here on The Crush. Eat, Drink, Explore Media, your source for the lifestyle you love.
You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network, coming to you live every Sunday morning from the fabulous state of California. Now it's time to kick off the Compass Hour. Let's give it up for the always insightful Mr. Randall White.
Always insightful. Please. Okay, everyone, down. And I'm joined by the lovely and talented Miss Patty Pyburn as well, who helps me out even on a day where she has to work doing weather later today for the local CBS affiliate. Patty,
Thanks for reminding me.
thank you for being here, though. I really appreciate our entire crew being here today. And we even have some fill-in help from one Fidel. What's Fidel's last name? I'm not even sure. I feel terrible. We'll just say Fidel is joining us right now. He's placing the calls because our Cora is away because it's Labor Day weekend. She has a family and had some things to do. So, Anthony, thank you for being here on this holiday weekend. And thank you, the listener, for joining us this morning. So much to talk about as we come to you live from California's Central Coast, where the sun just peeked out. It's going to be a beautiful day here in San Luis Obispo, as a matter of fact. And, you know, we bring you information each and every week on food, beverages, travel trends, so you can get the most out of your leisure time, which hopefully you have a lot of this Labor Day weekend. This is our Compass Hour, as you heard Monica say off the top there. It's sort of a fun spin on the typical talk show. All the guests, all the topics, everything we have lined up for this hour are all based on one word, and this week's Compass word is dry. D-R-Y.
Dry.
So based on that word, we are exploring the practice of dry farming. Now, this means you let the annual rainy season do what it does, and then in California, it starts to dry out around what? April, May?
Yeah.
And then May through now, harvest time, there's pretty much no rain. So no artificial irrigation. It's just dry farming. And how does that work?
How does that work?
How do you do that?
My style of farming, by the way, because I'm a very neglectful farmer.
well, it's also an eco-friendly way of doing things, especially in a state as starved for water as we are. And one of the people at the top of this practice, who really knows, been doing it for years and doing it successfully, will be joining us in the next segment to talk about dry farming. Then at the bottom of the hour, we head to Dry Creek Valley, which is one of those California wine regions. This is California Wine Month. Just kicked it off yesterday. And the Dry Creek Valley is such a charming place to go. If you don't want to deal with the crowds in Napa and you've done the Sonoma thing and you don't want to take the windy roads out the Russian River Valley, you have the Dry Creek Valley there, and Healdsburg is the very quaint town right at its core. You can make a great weekend out of exploring the Dry Creek Valley, and that's what we will do as well coming up. And then finally, we'll round things out by heading to, now I realize we're still in summer here, technically. We're heading to the desert, where in August, in the Palm Springs, Coachella Valley area, temperatures are typically between 110 and 120.
Yikes.
But we're heading into October, November, December, January, peak season for Death Valley. And why stay at some big giant hotel when you can have your own home, your own condo, your own apartment, villa? So we will speak with someone with a company called Dry Heat Resorts, and it's all about finding that perfect vacation spot for you so you can unplug and rewind.
Sounds great.
Or rewind? Yeah, rewind.
Unwind?
Unwind.
Or rewind.
I said rewind, and I'm like, what? Well, yeah, okay.
Whatever it takes.
So get into your 70s and 80s gear and rewind. And so, we'll be testing all things dry. But it is time now, Patty, for our... And let's see, what do I use for this one? I use this one right here. It is time for our Compass Word Trivia.
All right.
And this is where we take the Compass Word, which today is dry, and we put together several questions. Patty has chosen several, I've chosen several, and we test each other's knowledge. And Patty, I'm going to let you start this week with the very first trivia question, and it has to somehow contain the word dry or relate to something dry.
Okay.
And fire away.
In keeping with that theme and wine month theme, how is dry ice used in winemaking?
In winemaking? I'm going to say to keep the grapes cool so that, parasites don't grow and that sort of thing.
You're very close.
Prior to crush.
We're going to give you a 50% on that one.
Okay.
Dry ice, often used in winemaking to cool down bunches of grapes quickly after picking to help prevent spontaneous fermentation by wild yeast.
Yes, that's what when I said parasites, that wasn't wrong. I was
on
the right track. So I'm going to give myself the...
Okay, you get the bell.
Yes bell. On that one. All right, Patty. So that's a good one. I like that because it was tied
I was
into
trying
our
to make
general
them,
theme.
Yeah.
Okay, if you order your martini dry or extra dry, what are you asking?
You want more gin? That's my answer. You want more gin? Less something else?
When do we not want more gin is my question. It's not so much the more gin. What you want is less vermouth or no vermouth.
I couldn't think about the other. I'm like less of the other stuff that you don't want.
You were on the right track, I guess. So since I guess since I got the other one,
you'll give it to me.
I'm going to give you the multiple rings. I know of people who all they want is the gin poured in the glass, and then you wave it past the vermouth bottle. That's as close as it gets to the vermouth.
They're good.
Anthony, what are those things called that it's called a mister? It's like an atomizer.
Okay, you just mist.
And you just mist it over the top of the glass. That was really popular in like the 60s, and I think you even see that on Mad Men and stuff, right? Isn't that
of course, yeah.
where you find it?
That's funny.
Okay, Patty, send one my way.
All right, so a dry county, you know what that is, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing that they still
exist.
even after Prohibition was repealed. So dry counties where you can't get alcohol. Okay. What proportion of the U.S. population?
Oh, okay.
And I'll take a ballpark. Lives in a dry county.
Do I have to get it within a certain range?
I'll let you know after you answer.
Okay. Okay. What percentage of the U.S. population lives within a dry county? Those are in really
or even
small...
like the number, like how many thousands or millions.
Okay, it's not very much. I'm gonna say 100,000 people.
18 million.
What?
I know. 10% of the area of the U.S. is dry.
Oh, well
And if you can look at the United States and you look kind of like a little strip across the South, you'll see where most of the dry counties are located.
It's 18 million? And there's what are we up to now? Like 350 million in the United States?
18 million in a dry county.
I'm going to have to give a collective
Those
poor
souls.
Right. Okay, Patty, here we go. Which type of sparkling wine or champagne is the least sweet? Extra brut, extra dry, or demi-sec? Extra brut, extra dry, or demi-sec?
I'm going to say extra brut.
That's your final answer?
That is my final answer.
All right, well, I'm going to have to say that Patty is correct. I actually read them in the order in which they go.
Okay.
For
a second, I thought that was a trick.
Yeah, we only got through 2 of them.
And I had another good one for you.
I know, I had another good one too. So maybe we'll find a way to fit that in at the bottom of the hour.
Okay, stick around.
Right. But yeah, definitely stick around, because up next, we're going to learn about dry farming. It's really done here in California. I
can't wait to hear. Seriously, love it.
Back in just a moment. During its heyday in the 1920s and 30s, San Luis Obispo County's Hearst Castle saw many a lavish party, attended by the rich and famous. Now you too can head to the castle for a once-in-a-lifetime experience featuring local, farm-inspired cuisine to celebrate the rich history of locavore living that Mr. Hearst pioneered in the region, as you sip wine and sample fresh seafood, locally grown produce, and meats from nearby farmers and ranchers. Eco-friendly wine lovers will appreciate the Vine to Glass theme carried throughout the event, featuring the best vintages from the region. It's part of opening night for this year's Sunset Savor the Central Coast, the West Coast premier food and wine event, September 27th through the 30th, to culminate California Wine Month. To purchase tickets and for a full listing of activities, head to savorcentralcoast.com.
Come to Paso Robles to eat, drink, and explore the fresh additions to the Paso Robles Inn Steakhouse menu from Chef Kevin's Organic Kitchen Garden. Whether you're there for the exquisite Champagne Sunday brunch, seasonal dinner special, or prime rib Wednesday, you'll enjoy this season's harvest from the Organic Kitchen Garden, including fruits, vegetables, and herbs incorporated into the menu daily. Don't forget to take a tour of the gardens next time you visit the steakhouse at the Paso Robles Inn. And stay connected on Facebook and Twitter for upcoming specials, recipes, events, and more.
Across the nation, people are stepping up for their mothers, fathers, husbands, wives, partners, sisters, and brothers. They're leading the way and walking to end Alzheimer's, the 6th leading cause of death in the nation. Together, we can reclaim the future. Walk to end Alzheimer's. Start a team. Join a team. Go to alz.org.
The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break and will be back shortly. Did you know our weekly Saturday morning radio show also has a video simulcast on Ustream? You can watch it live or view pre-recorded versions while on the go by simply downloading our free Eat, Drink, Explore app for your smartphone or tablet device. To find it, just head to Google Play or the Apple App Store and search Eat, Drink, Explore. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break. We will be back shortly. Get the latest audio, video, and breaking news from Eat, Drink, Explore Media by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We're easy to find. The URL extension for all of those sites is simply Eat, Drink, Explore. Thank you for your patience. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break and will be back on the air shortly. Curious about information you've heard on today's show? Just head to eatdrinkexplore.com and head to the weekly program summary section under the radio tab. We always list the websites and any other important facts associated with each of our guests we have on the program. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break and will be back on the air shortly. A very good Sunday Fun Day morning to you. 9:19 now the time as you enjoy the midway mark of your Labor Day weekend, wherever you may be in the beautiful San Francisco Bay Area, along the Central Coast, which officially is from Santa Cruz through Ventura County, or whether you're joining us in lovely Los Angeles. Lots of stuff to do all Labor Day weekend long. Wine tasting among them as we have kicked off Wine Month. Patty Pyburn, we kicked it off, yesterday?
That was the start.
Yeah, lots of so many different events to check out throughout the state. Be sure to do that as we head through September. And then at the very end, we have Savor the Central Coast with really 4 days of
amazing.
They do such a great job putting that event together. And I'm not just saying that because they're a sponsor, because they are. but I was a big fan of it.
What a great event. And really, it's just grown every year, and it's wonderful. Fabulous.
It really is. Okay, so our compass word this hour is dry, D-R-Y. And I have to tell you that about 2 years ago, I was at the Saturday afternoon market in Morro Bay. Farmers market downtown. And you know how the different vendors will give you samples of things as you walk past if you want to try it? And so they had some watermelon there. And I'm a huge watermelon fan. So when it's watermelon season and there's a free sample, I'm there. And so I took a taste of this and I thought, this could be one of the best tasting watermelons I've ever had. And
really intense flavor.
Super intense flavor. And I looked at the sign and it said, dry farmed. And I thought, how do you dry farm a watermelon?
Right. How does that happen?
How does that work? Exactly. So I've become, over the last couple of years, a little bit obsessed with this dry farming. And I thought, well, since our compass word is dry, no better time for me to learn more about it than right now. And joining us on the line is Philip Hart with Ambeth Estate. Typically, we don't have our guests on the line via cell phone, but it's the middle of harvest season, and Philip is in the middle of the field.
He has work to do.
This is how we get in touch with him. Right, Philip, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. By the way, I have to say I completely got the question of the dry counties wrong. I guessed 1%.
I was the same way. I just can't believe that there's that many people that live in a dry county. Just crazy.
We need to open them all up so we get some more wine sales.
I know. And I also find it funny that some of the best bourbon in the world comes from a dry county. That's just craziness. Crazy talk. Okay, so Philip, how long have you been using the practice of dry farming, and you use it for your vineyard there?
Exclusively, yes. We don't have any irrigation lines, so it's not a question of we turn it on when we need it. We are completely dry farmed, and we started in 2003.
And so when California has an exceptionally dry winter, that really puts you in a predicament come the dry months, May, June, July, August, September, right?
The answer is yes and no. Vines are very clever. They regulate themselves if you allow them to. If you give them water, if you give them fertilizers, they'll leave their root systems at the top. They'll sit by the swimming pool, sipping their drinks and enjoying life. And they'll give you what you would expect from that. But if you don't irrigate them, if you don't fertilize them, they send their root systems way down. And so one drought year is not going to be a problem. If we were to have 3 drought years, we're going to see a significant reduction in crop.
So you just have to go with Mother Nature then, and you get what you get? Is that the approach?
That is the approach. That's the drawback to dry farming. You don't regulate it at all. It is what it is.
I would imagine that the fruit, just like the watermelon I tasted, is more intense with flavor.
It's exceptional. It's more interesting. It's different. It's less regulated, exactly like that watermelon.
And don't some vintners that do not practice dry farming purposely pull back on the water supply to stress the vines near the end?
Absolutely. You hear a lot of talk about that, stressing the vines at the end, and you'll hear talk about dropping fruit because you've got too much fruit and the vine can't sustain it. When you dry farm, you don't need to drop fruit. The vine doesn't put enough on there for you to need to drop. It's all, it actually is a little bit of common sense, but again, the drawback is you don't get vast crop.
Okay, that's interesting. So obviously you're growing grapes. What do you know about growing other types of fruits and vegetables using this method?
About as much as you two do from visiting the market. We tried dry farming our tomatoes up here. Our property is on the top of a hill. We get cold winds that come in from the ocean. I was speaking to somebody who does dry farm yesterday, and they dry farm their tomatoes, and we spoke at length a little bit. Turns out that his property is at the bottom of a hill. There's a sort of waterway that runs through. They get a lot of early morning fog. So perhaps that helps out in vegetables.
I saw
low root system. However, olives, on the other hand, love dry farming. We have nearly 600 olive trees, and they also don't get any water. Their root systems are not as deep as vines, yet they still manage to survive. And if you go to the south of Spain, you'll see hundreds of millions of them surviving in the heat of summer.
I've driven through that region north of Cadiz, and I saw lots of olive trees down there, and in the south of Spain. I saw olives on your website, and I was wondering if you indeed have an orchard there that is dry farmed, and you do.
Yeah, it's not an orchard. We put our olive trees in the vineyards, so they separate all the different varietals. It's quite pretty. We feel that the one feeds off the other, perhaps, maybe the grapes get a little olive flavor, and maybe the olives get a little grape flavor. But again, what we're looking for is interest, and I think dry farming gives us that.
Now, I'm wondering, are there certain varietals that work better with dry farming?
Yeah, it's a great question. We have 10 varietals here, and certainly Syrah seems to be the most conscious of water. But I think it would depend where it is. My Syrah is on the north facing, on a slightly lower hill. There's no water runoff whatsoever. Back to that swale aspect, if you were down in a valley and you had some water coming down or streams going through, it would be less sensitive. So I think the answer is yes, but it's so diverse, it's very difficult to pin down.
Interesting. Okay, so I'm curious to know, because I've never really taken note when I've been wine tasting. This is not something I've thought of, but what do you hear from the people who drink your wines when they say their experience of drinking this dry farmed product versus something grown conventionally? What's the feedback you hear?
The biggest one is these are really different. That really is that simple. And we are dry farmed, and I'm going to plug some friends of ours here a little bit, because we went wine tasting one day in Paso Robles, and we ended up at Bella Luna, and we tasted their dry farmed, head trained Sangiovese, and it completely blew my wife and myself away. And we went 180 degrees and said, this is what we need to do.
And that was Bella Luna?
That was Bella Luna.
So
okay.
So you're not the only one in the valley trying. At least your entire operation is dry farmed, but there are some other vintners out there that are at least taking a portion of their crop and trying it?
Yes, I don't know what the actual number is. Maybe it's 5% or less, but yes, there are others.
Interesting. So you were using conventional methods prior to that, prior to choosing dry
No,
farming?
we were just about to,
Okay.
pre-planting. Literally, it was a day's wine tasting about a few months before planting, and then we tasted the wine, and it's a significant difference.
Now, ecologically, why would it be beneficial for a farmer to choose dry farming regardless of the crop?
Well, I mentioned 3 years of drought, which would be really interesting if we had that a few years ago here, and wells were going dry. So if you irrigated and your well went dry and your plants were used to being irrigated, I think you'd have some serious problems at that point.
Oh, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. So your grapes have literally trained themselves to expect a dry period.
They will do what's necessary. If we get lots of rain, they love it. They stay greener longer. Everything's very cool. But if we don't get it, then, as I said, they regulate themselves. They do what they need to do.
Now, we just have about 30 seconds left, but I did notice on the website you let, is it rabbits just wander throughout the field? and
No, we have rabbits, but they're in coops. Rabbits love grapes. No, we have chickens that wander
chickens.
through.
It's chickens. That's right. I'm sorry.
And then in the off-season, we have sheep and cows that wander through, but even they're not here during the on-season.
And you use the droppings as a form of fertilizer?
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
Right. I love that. Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to, and is your place open to the public?
We are by appointment. Just place the phone call and we'll be here.
Okay, that's Ambeth Estate. We have a link at eatdrinkexplore.com. Philip Hart, thank you so much. Philip Hart, for joining us on the program this morning.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, we're back in just a moment. We will be talking dry heat, the heat of the desert, but at the good time of year and the right places to stay to enjoy it. You're listening to Eat, Drink, Explore Radio on this Sunday morning. We're back in just a moment. The historic Santa Margarita Ranch, exactly halfway between San Francisco and Los Angeles off Highway 101, was founded in the mid-1700s and served as an assistant mission to the nearby mission in San Luis Obispo. The 14,000 acres that make up the ranch today have served a variety of purposes over the years, including grazing land for large herds of Mexican cattle, prime vineyard land, and this fall will once again host the main event for Sunset Savor the Central Coast, the West Coast premier food and wine event, September the 27th through the 30th to culminate California Wine Month. Meet top chefs from the Central Coast as well as nationally recognized culinary celebrities. Several chef demonstrations will be featured, including the Battle of the Bay, hosted by the Food Network's Ted Allen of Chopped. To purchase tickets, head to savorcentralcoast.com. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break and will be back shortly. Did you know our weekly Saturday morning radio show also has a video simulcast on Ustream? You can watch it live or view pre-recorded versions while on the go by simply downloading our free Eat, Drink, Explore app for your smartphone or tablet device. To find it, just head to Google Play or the Apple App Store and search Eat, Drink, Explore. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break. We will be back shortly. Get the latest audio, video, and breaking news from Eat, Drink, Explore Media by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We're easy to find. The URL extension for all of those sites is simply Eat, Drink, Explore. Thank you for your patience. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break and will be back on the air shortly. Curious about information you've heard on today's show? Just head to eatdrinkexplore.com and head to the weekly program summary section under the radio tab. We always list the websites and any other important facts associated with each of our guests we have on the program. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break and will be back on the air shortly. Thank you for being a regular listener to the Eat, Drink, Explore radio program. If you have any feedback for us, we'd love to hear it. Simply send a note to radio@eatdrinkexplore.com. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break. We will be back shortly. Get the latest audio, video, and breaking news from Eat, Drink, Explore Media by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We're easy to find. The URL extension for all of those sites is simply Eat, Drink, Explore. Thank you for your patience. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break and will be back on the air shortly.
Welcome back to the Eat, Drink, Explore radio network. Here now is your fabulous host, Mr. Randall White.
And great to have you with us on this Sunday morning, 9:33 the time. And before we get to our next segment, which will be exploring a wonderful, one of my favorite wine regions, actually, in the entire state, Patty and I have some unfinished business when it comes to our trivia questions. We each had one question left that we didn't get to. So, Patty, I am going, and all of our trivia questions are based on our compass word for the hour, which is dry. Patty, fire away.
Okay, this will be quick because I know that you know the answer.
Oh, okay.
Okay. What distillery makes a popular liquor located in a dry county?
Oh, okay. Let me think. I'm going to say that is Jack Daniels.
Yeah, I knew you knew it because you mentioned it earlier. Moore County, Tennessee, dry county. So you can't buy the product there, but it's like the world's leading whiskey.
Right. Isn't that crazy?
You can't buy it there.
I just don't understand the whole dry rules at all. Okay, Patty, Furnace Creek. I love the name of that place.
Mm-hmm.
Furnace Creek in Death Valley is one of the driest places in the United States. Its annual average rainfall is less than an inch, between 2 to 3 inches, or about 10 inches. Less than an inch, 2 to 3 inches. This is annually, all year long.
Annually, all
What do they
year.
get?
And it's Death Valley. I say less than an inch.
You say less than an inch?
Not right.
Well, no, the average rainfall in Furnace Creek is 2.33 inches.
Wow.
And just to give you like a comparison, Santa Barbara gets 17 inches a year, or about 17 inches a year. So
I was
very
going
dry.
to say that you like in the monsoon season they get all the 10 inches at one time or something. It was a trick question.
Now, not Furnace Creek, but Dry Creek is where we're headed now. The Dry Creek Valley, as a matter of fact. And this is north of Santa Rosa on Highway 1. If you were headed into Sonoma County and wanted to do some wine tasting, Healdsburg is a fantastic place to stop and make it your home base to explore the Dry Creek Valley. Winemaker Eric Miller joins us right now from Kokomo Wines, and he's a member of the Wine Growers of the Dry Creek Valley. Eric, great to have you on the program.
Thank you for having me. Good to be here.
Yeah, so Dry Creek Valley, I always thought of those wineries up that direction. My sister lives in Santa Rosa, and so my grandmother lived there as I was growing up. So I always thought about it, but I never thought of them being sort of collectively together as one place. Has the Dry Creek Valley region grown as an appellation quite a bit over the last couple of decades?
No, not at all. You know, it was formed in 1983, and it's as far as square footage, it hasn't grown at all. As far as wineries, a number of wineries that have opened up in the area, certainly there's been some more wineries open up because it is such a great area. But no, it's 2 miles by about 16 miles long, and it hasn't grown a bit.
But it hasn't grown in the sense of gaining, a name for itself. We've seen some of the wine regions really, Paso Robles is one of them that's really been acclaimed. So do you have sort of a following?
Oh, yeah. I mean, with the town of Healdsburg and how Healdsburg's grown in the last, several years and stuff, Dry Creek certainly has become a big destination for folks to come to. I mean, it's the wines have been getting a lot of acclaim, and like I said, there's probably, 60, 70 wineries now in Dry Creek. That's probably doubled in the last, 10 years. So,
What are the boundaries of the Dry Creek going region?
Well, you said it's north of Santa Rosa on 101, and it goes from, right there in Healdsburg, right off of 101, and it goes all the way to Lake Sonoma, essentially, which is the dam that was created in the mid '80s or sometime there. So
I remember I've water skied on that lake. In fact, my parents were nice enough. We used to explore on the weekends. One of the reasons maybe why I am in this position now. But we would take drives along that, knowing that it was going to be filled up as a lake. We would take drives through that region and look at it and say, "This is all going to be underwater one day."
I never got an opportunity to do that. I've heard stories and stuff. I didn't move into the area till 11 or so years ago, so I didn't get an opportunity to see it, but I've heard stories, so yeah, I'm sure that was pretty cool.
Now, the Russian River runs through the Dry Creek appellation, but there's also a Dry Creek, correct?
That's right, yeah. Dry Creek is a tributary to the Russian River, and it's really unique. If you look at a map, that the Russian River actually takes a 90-degree bend right at Healdsburg there to let out in Jenner, so it's a significant place for the river. But yeah, Dry Creek is one of the main tributaries there to Russian River, and of course fed by Lake Sonoma now. So
is it I don't know if I'm using the word correctly, ephemeral, which means, I think I have that word right, which means that it is dry for a portion of the year. Is that why it's called Dry Creek?
Yeah, no, it definitely was dry for a lot of the year throughout the summer, and then, it would flood in the winter. And so now it runs all year round, I mean, we kind of let, some of the water out of Lake Sonoma, so it's actually not dry this time of the year, and it's actually a pretty big important thing for the salmon and the restoration of the salmon project for the Russian River.
But
so.
Too late to change the name of everything to Wet Creek, so...
Yeah, that doesn't have the same appeal,
Right, that would mess things up. Now, what about this region makes it great for the sparkling wines?
Oh, it's Sonoma County, which is just phenomenal for wine region as a whole. But it's tucked in between Russian River and Alexander Valley. So you have Russian River that's of course world famous for the Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, and a cooler region because of the Russian River's influence there, bringing up all the fog from the coast, and then Alexander Valley, which is because of that 90-degree bend in the Russian River, it's considerably warmer there. Great for the Cabernets and Merlots and things like that. So Dry Creek kind of just nestled right in between the those two appellations, and it's just with its soil types that it has and how narrow the valley is and things like that. It's just and the cool nights, of course, it just makes an ideal place for wine grapes. So.
We're speaking with winemaker Eric Miller from Kokomo Wines and the wine growers of the Dry Creek Valley Association. Did I read somewhere, it might have been on the wine growers website, that Zinfandel is one of the main varietals there?
It is. We have the highest concentration of old vine Zinfandel or ancient vine Zinfandel in the world.
Okay, we're getting in the car right now, packing up, we're headed. I'm there.
Let's go.
Seriously, that's my favorite varietal.
Yeah, well, it definitely does very well there, and it has a big history in Dry Creek, and it's definitely what we're known for. But we like to showcase some of the other varietals that do very well in Dry Creek as well, and I think we're just starting to get into some of those. I mean, Sauvignon Blanc probably secondly, and a lot of people planting Grenache in Dry Creek Valley, and it seems to do very well there as well.
Oh, Grenache, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So Kokomo is the name of your winery. Does that have anything to do with the Beach Boys song? I hear
that all the time.
I bet.
So it's nothing to do with the Beach Boys. It's actually my hometown. I was born and raised in Kokomo, Indiana.
And,
so a little tribute to the hometown by naming my winery after my hometown there, and we're located right in the middle of Dry Creek. I would say probably a mile and a half past the general store. So.
And is yours a reservation type of place, or are you open to the public?
We're open. Yeah, we're open every day. 11 to 4:30. So yeah, we're on the east bench of Dry Creek. I mean, I really think Dry Creek has several. We call it terroir, which is like unique growing spots, or have some sense of place throughout Dry Creek. We're on the east bench, so it's kind of a plateau on the east side of the valley, which definitely has a significant place. It's a lot of gravelly soil, the red clay soil up there, and and elevated a little bit. So. It's a little different than the west side. The east side tends to get a little, more of that afternoon sun as it's setting in the west, so we get more of that intense sun over there. But the west side, probably a little bit more of the morning sun, so a little different flavors on each side of the valley. But I do get grapes from throughout Dry Creek, even Rockpile, which Rockpile's at the end, and even little past Lake Sonoma, but that's a sub-appellation and of Dry Creek and its own appellation. So, but yeah, we do 5 different Zinfandels from the valley, and dramatically different, each one. So.
And that's mainly based on the. I'm afraid to even try to pronounce this terroir.
Yeah, I know.
The soil.
The French gave us a word that I don't think we have a good translation for in English, which comes from the word territory, but it's really just talking about sense of place, which is so important in winemaking.
It is, and I was just reading yesterday. It's the guy from Bonnie Doon, Randall Graham.
Correct.
Yeah, Randall Graham is focusing on this and talking about this. He has a new book out. I want to get him on the show, actually, to discuss it. That the soil, the place, everything really makes a difference from one grape to the next, even if it's the exact same varietal grown in the same fashion.
That's right. I mean, and that's why wine is what wine is. I feel like, that's what makes it such a collector's item and makes it so limited and unique is because, you may grow Zinfandel in other places or Cabernet, but our particular vineyard is our vineyard, which has its own soil type and its own microclimate, and And it also has something to do with the age of the vines. We really don't feel like there's a huge sense of terroir till the vines get 10, 15, and even 20 to 30 years old, where they've had a chance to live in one environment for an extended amount of time. But that's definitely the really cool thing about it, and I feel like my job as a winemaker is to really highlight that sense of place. Make sure that that's what shows through the wine. So.
On the note of the age of the vines, do I understand this correctly that the term old vine gets thrown around a lot and put on labels, but technically there is no California labeling rule when it comes to old vine?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think we're hoping to get that somewhat changed. I know 50 years old seems to be something that a lot of people talk about for old vine, but when you go over to Burgundy in France, they say anything 30 and older can be called Grand Cru, so they obviously see something significant about that 30 and older, but there is, for ancient vines or for century vines, that does, speak of vines to be over 100 years old, and we have quite a few of those in Dry Creek. So there is a designate for at least, those vines, but as far as old vine, it can be thrown around pretty. I mean, you can put, on a 15-year-old vine, old vine, and that's, as we know, that's probably not good for the consumers.
So Grand Cru is the translation?
Well, Grand Cru, if you have a Grand Cru Burgundy, the vines have to be at least 30 years or older,
Right.
So
Okay.
that's kind of there where they're saying that they're starting to really come into their adulthood, if you will.
Right. Well, the Dry Creek Valley, a destination the month of September for California Wine Month, one to definitely check out. Make sure you schedule at least one dinner or lunch in Healdsburg. It has really become a foodie city. Thank you so much, Eric Miller with Kokomo Wines.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, stick around. We're headed to the driest place in all of California, or at least close to it. Yeah. We're back in just a moment on this Sunday morning. It's time to channel your inner cowboy or cowgirl with a bit of rustic elegance thrown in for an upcoming culinary experience in Paso Robles at Windfall Farms, an exclusive community that promotes and enhances the sustainability of local agriculture and celebrates equestrian, ranch, and agrarian lifestyles. The Paso Glow event is taking place Saturday evening, September the 29th, from 6 to 10 on the final night of this year's Sunset Savor the Central Coast, the West Coast premier food and wine event, September 27th through the 30th, to culminate California Wine Month. The event will wow you with ranch-inspired delicacies prepared by the area's top chefs, the region's best wines, and the warm glow of many illuminated hot air balloons. To purchase tickets and for a full listing of activities, head to SavorCentralCoast.com.
Come to Paso Robles to eat, drink, and explore the fresh additions to the Paso Robles Inn Steakhouse menu from Chef Kevin's Organic Kitchen Garden. Whether you're there for the exquisite Champagne Sunday brunch, seasonal dinner special, or prime rib Wednesday, you'll enjoy this season's harvest from the Organic Kitchen Garden, including fruits, vegetables, and herbs incorporated into the menu daily. Don't forget to take a tour of the gardens next time you visit the steakhouse at the Paso Robles Inn. And stay connected on Facebook and Twitter for upcoming specials, recipes, events, and more.
Across the nation, people are stepping up for their mothers, fathers, husbands, wives, partners, sisters, and brothers. They're leading the way and walking to end Alzheimer's, the 6th leading cause of death in the nation. Together, we can reclaim the future. Walk to end Alzheimer's. Start a team. Join a team. Go to alz.org.
The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break and will be back shortly. Did you know our weekly Saturday morning radio show also has a video simulcast on Ustream? You can watch it live or view pre-recorded versions while on the go by simply downloading our free Eat, Drink, Explore app for your smartphone or tablet device. To find it, just head to Google Play or the Apple App Store and search Eat, Drink, Explore. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break. We will be back shortly. Get the latest audio, video, and breaking news from Eat, Drink, Explore Media by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We're easy to find. The URL extension for all of those sites is simply Eat, Drink, Explore. Thank you for your patience. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break and will be back on the air shortly. Curious about information you've heard on today's show? Just head to eatdrinkexplore.com and head to the weekly program summary section under the radio tab. We always list the websites and any other important facts associated with each of our guests we have on the program. The Eat, Drink, Explore radio show is currently in a local commercial break and will be back on the air shortly. And a very good Sunday, fun day morning on this midday through the Labor Day weekend. I'm your host, Randall White, here on Eat, Drink, Explore Radio, joined by my co-host today, Miss Patty Pyburn.
Good morning. Happy Labor Day weekend.
Who's pulling a double today. You're working for us, and then you're working your day job at KCOY CBS 12 doing weather.
I will be doing weather tonight. Yes.
Yeah. So if you live in Santa Barbara or San Luis Obispo counties, you can catch Patty doing that
all
tonight.
the way up to Santa Cruz tonight.
And then in the mornings, you have to work tomorrow?
Yes.
Oh, wow. So, and in the morning shift?
And the morning shift.
Okay.
Yes.
So, and if you're in Santa Cruz, Monterey.
They'll actually see me in Santa Cruz tonight.
Oh,
on
really?
KION. Yeah, I'm doing it for both stations.
Wow. Okay, Patty. Well, you are all over the map, I've got to say.
I got it covered.
You do have it covered. So nice of you to come in today. I would have
Of
called
course,
me
I
and
wouldn't
said,
miss it.
Yeah, can't do it. Sorry. Hey, I want to just mention really quickly, my mom, I love her so much, gave me a ring on the phone during the commercial break there and said, son, you were brought up on a dry vineyard, a dry farmed vineyard. My great uncle Ramsey owned the property in Marin County where I grew up, and it was I do remember some vines being out there. When I was maybe around 10 or something, we sold it and then it became a subdivision. But yeah, the property was a dry farmed vineyard.
Interesting.
So, my parents family way ahead of the time.
Way ahead of the curve.
Exactly. Okay, 10 minutes before the top of the hour right now, and it is time to stick with our compass word dry and head to one of the drier regions of California. Well, dry on the surface, not so dry under the ground. That's why it's called Palm Springs for one reason, because there are natural springs there. In fact, when you it's such a juxtaposition of images. You are surrounded by the driest terroir.
Very good.
Did I use that correctly? But everywhere you look, there are fountains and water features and swimming pools and opulence as far as water is concerned. And you think, how do they get all this water in the desert? Well, there's a big underground source of water, and that's what makes it such a fantastic vacation destination. We're in the off season for sure right now, but we're at the end of it, and we'll be starting the top season for getting away from the wintertime blues and enjoying the nice climate of the Coachella Valley. October, November, December, January, February, March, right on through there. Joining us is Kenny Felsher with Dry Heat Resorts. Not everyone wants to stay in your standard Hilton or Marriott. Other people want a nice little bungalow or their own home or that sort of thing, maybe a condo. And Kenny's the guy that makes the connection. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, Randall. How are you today?
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I looked at some of the properties you offer on your website. And then, as I do with all the guests, I do a little background search just to make sure I'm not having someone on the show that doesn't do a good job. You do a great job. You get big thumbs up on TripAdvisor and Yelp and some of those review sites. So I thought, yeah, Kenny's going to be a good guy to have on the show.
Well, good. That's good to hear. I try my best to do a great job, and I have a lot of loyal customers, both people who stay with me as well as homeowners who I've worked with for anywhere from 3 to 8 years.
How did this all get started for you?
I'll try to make it quick. I actually had a friend. I'm from LA originally. I had a friend who had a couple of small condos here in Palm Springs, and he told me that he made enough money in a couple of months during the season to pay his mortgage for the entire year.
Oh, nice.
So at that time, the market was going great out here. I decided to move here from Los Angeles. I bought a property in Palm Desert, which is a city, not too far from Palm Springs.
Mm-hmm.
And my goal was to actually rent the house that I was living in during the season to pay my mortgage for the entire year. Well, that turned out to be very difficult because I had to find alternative housing for about 4.5 to 5 months.
Aha, right.
But I met some guy. I told him what I was doing. He told me he had a friend who had a condo out here and asked me if I could help him rent his place. And at that time, I never even heard the word vacation rental, but I told him I'd give it a shot. And I met with the guy, took pictures of his condos, threw it up on some websites, and rented it out immediately for the 2004-2005 season. By the end of that season, I had 7 properties. The following year, I was up to 20, and I just grew the company from there.
Now, an organization like yours, Kenny, would differ from, I know a lot of people nowadays go to VRBO, I think it is, a vacation rental by owner.
Right.
You act as a go-between. So sometimes I don't feel comfortable just, going direct. I like to have someone like you who's checked out the property. What are some of the different steps you take to be that go-between person?
Well, I think I can offer a higher quality of service because I'm here on the ground. When you rent through a rent-by-owner site, number one, a lot of times you have no idea who you're working with.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what their reputation is. You have no idea really who they are. They could be, they could be thousands of miles away. I'm here in Palm Springs. I've been doing this for 8 years. I have a professional reservation management system, a professional accounting system. I have amazing housekeepers who I've worked with for years. I have handymen, plumbers, electricians. When you're renting a house, if something goes wrong, you want to make sure that there's going to be somebody there who's going to provide you with service quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if it's a real short vacation like a weekend getaway. If there's a pool problem, you want to get that fixed quickly. And I think when you go to a management company, you're going to get a better quality of service. And you might pay a little bit more, but it comes down to the old thing. You get more, or if you pay a little more, you're generally going to get more.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're investing in a vacation, it probably makes sense to pay a few dollars more to have some more security.
Yeah, your whole vacation can go awry if, the garbage disposal breaks and you can't do dinner or something. So it's nice to know that you're going to get those things fixed right away. Now, Kenny, we're looking at pictures of some of the properties, and wow is all I have to say. Wow. So what's one of your real popular ones that people always want to rent?
I manage about 36 properties right now, everything from one-bedroom condos in downtown Palm Springs to 4-bedroom estate homes at PGA West in La Quinta.
Mm.
And, I manage 9 condos at a place called the Palm Springs Deauville. And that's right in downtown Palm Springs. It's across the street from the Spa Resort Casino. It's 2 blocks from Palm Canyon Drive, which has, 100 restaurants, shops. That's extremely popular during the season. I get a lot of people who come here and who will actually rent a condo there from 1 to 3 months. So, they're usually from Canada or the Midwest. They're coming here to escape the winters. And as I'm sure you know, the winters here are amazing. It's pretty much sunny every day.
Yeah.
And temperatures are from 70 to 85 degrees in the winter. So, and then I get people who come here for golf outings, and it might be, 4 or 5 golf buddies, and they'll rent a house at PGA West that could rent anywhere from, $3,000 a week to $5,000 a week. This is a 5,000 square foot estate home with an infinity edge pool overlooking a lake and mountain.
How nice. Yeah, the views there, the mountains just come crashing down to the desert floor, and it's such a spectacular place. I like a little restaurant right in the downtown of Palm Springs called Matchbox, one of those. And anyway, it's table, I think, number 17, and it's a little 2-seater, and it's upstairs, and you can look over everything, have a glass of wine. It's very nice. All right, Kenny Felsher with Dry Heat Resorts. We have a link to Dry Heat Resorts at eatdrinkexplore.com for our program summary today. Thank you so much, sir.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
All right. Have a great rest of your Labor Day weekend, everyone. We'll catch you back here next week.